Everybody, it's me, Angela, Fiskateer number 009, and I'm pretty much just now back from CHA. And remember, a couple weeks ago I promised you I would share the make and take I did at the Fiskars booth during the show. I called it my Scandinavian snowball cocktail ring, I think is what I called it. Well, that's what I'm going to make today. So if you have a couple of minutes, grab a few supplies and join me. It's a very quick project. You know my goals when I'm doing crafting. I like them to be inexpensive, really fast, and very easy to do. So today I'm going to be making a sample that I can use to show my daughter's second grade class for their Valentine's Day party that's coming up. So I'm going to put a little bit of a Valentine's Day twist on it, but you don't need to. As long as you have your favorite Fiskars squeeze punch that's symmetrical, so you can see I'm using My Funny Valentine today. It's the Scallop Heart Squeeze Punch. I always remember the name because I got to name it in one of those Fiskars tool naming contests, so it's one of my favorites. Any one you want to use is fine. For the show I did butterflies, I also did daisies that made it look more like that Scandinavian snowball cocktail ring look, but whatever you have. So a little bit of paper, your Fiskars squeeze punch, it would help if you have your Fiskateer scissors, and glue dots, and believe it or not, you're also going to need a little tiny rubber band. So any little rubber band you have laying around for your hair will work. If you don't have one, don't worry, because I'll show you some other ideas you can do without using the rubber band. But that's it. So if you'll join me at my craft table, I'll show you a few tips, and in no time you're going to have a very fun, inexpensive, and cute little project that you can use for a whole bunch of different things. Here are some of the supplies that you're going to need. So I have my Fiskateer scissors. I have, just from the local drugstore, these poly bands. Conair makes them. These are called Studio 35, and all these are little hair tie rubber bands. I use these for my little girl's hair. The reason why I use these poly bands instead of a rubber band is they don't have as much spring back as a regular rubber band does. They don't have as much memory, basically. So when I stretch this poly band out, I'm going to be able to get a bigger ring for a bigger finger. So if you're making these for adults, you just want to give it a couple stretches, and that's going to stretch your rubber band out a little bit so you can comfortably wear the ring as an adult. If you're making these for kids, just leave them small, no big deal, and they don't fit very tight either, which is great. So they're not going to be uncomfortable when you wear them. I also have just some swatches of paper I have laying around. I have some glue dots, and I also have just some little accessories to add to my ring to make it a little more fabulous. So I have some basil clear self-adhesive jewels. So if you have anything like that laying around, it would be great. If you don't, the minimum you need is a little bit of paper, poly bands, some glue dots, and of course your favorite Fiskars squeeze punch. So as I mentioned, I'm going to use the My Funny Valentine scallop squeeze punch. This is going to make a giant ring, and this is really as simple as it gets. So I'm going to punch out 5 hearts. I could do all my hearts the same color if I want to make a ring that's very consistent, but I think all of the colors on this handly paper is really cute, so it all seems to go together to me. I noticed when I picked up my paper I had left this out, so if you can see, Tabitha's drawn me little love notes on here, which is really cute. So I'm going to go ahead and incorporate some of the doodles that she put on my paper when I left it out. And let's say I want to do this wood block one. I'm going to punch 5 circles total. And let me see, I'm going to go one more. I really love this turquoise color. And that's it. So I have 5 of my circles punched. That's all I really need. So what I'm going to do is determine which of the hearts that I want on the top of my ring that are really going to show. 2 of these hearts are going to be the base of my ring, so they're not going to show as much. So you need to determine which colors that you really want to pop. So I think this one really stands out. This is like a lime green wood grain. So I'm going to fold this heart over, whatever shape you have. So if this were the butterflies like the ring I'm wearing here, I would take the same idea by taking that butterfly, folding it in half like a taco. See? Looks like a little taco. And I'm going to just fold the 3 that I want on top of my ring. So let's say I want this orange one on top, of course, being the good Fiskateer that I am. Orange is one of my favorite colors. So now I have 2 little folded pieces. I really love this fun turquoise polka dotted paper, and I think that matches well. So now you can see that I have 3 of my folded papers, and now all I have to do is glue dot them together. So you can see how they all fit together. They're starting to form, basically it's like a half of a garland. If I wanted to make a full garland, I would add more paper hearts all the way around till I get a whole 3-dimensional shape. But I only want half this time, so it'll fit flat on my finger. So I have those on there. So now I'm just going to start glue dotting my hearts together. And again, whatever shape that you happen to be using. And I'm going to put my glue dot right in the center of my first folded heart. See how it's on the outside, not the printed side? And I'm going to put it kind of down at the bottom because I want to be able to have a lot of fluffiness into my ring. So if I put that glue dot too far up here, my ring's not going to fluff out as much. And you're going to see what I'm talking about when I do that. So I'm going to take my next heart. Again, printed side is on the inside, so I'm going to bump up non-printed side to non-printed side. And if you're using double printed paper, you just choose the side you want to show. And see how that one glue dot worked for both of those pieces of paper? So that's the bottom of what I'm looking at. So you see one seam going there. Now let's bump my third pretty little heart up against those 2 that I have going. And I'll put it on this side. So I have turquoise, then the green, and again, not the printed side. I'm just going to bump those up nicely together. So see how that symmetry works in our favor for this. And that's basically going to be the top of my really large ring. So let's just start building a base for it and make sure that we get this rubber band that I have stretched out incorporated into it. So one side is going to face down. And this doesn't even really matter what side faces down because you're not going to see the base of this heart. But I'm going to put my glue dot right in the middle. See? So I have my glue dot in the middle. Now I want to put my rubber band in, and I'm going to use my Fiskateer scissors to cut into this heart a little bit because you'll see when I put my rubber band right through the slits here. See how I have my rubber band now and it's gone through the slits? If I didn't cut slits here, I would have crunched my heart. It would strain where the rubber band was trying to come into the middle. When you turned over, the rubber band is right there. So this is the part that I'm actually going to wear on my finger. Now I misplaced my glue dot just a little bit. I don't know if you can see that there. I put it up a little high, but my goal was to incorporate that glue dot into holding on to my rubber band. So no problem, I'm just going to add one more glue dot. So my glue dot is on top of my rubber band to hold it in place. And now to hide this, because it's not very pretty, you can see where the rubber band meets the glue dots. That's where my second flat heart is going to cover everything up. So that glue dot that held my rubber band in place also holds the top part of my ring together. So see how I have that there? So I have the ring part I'm going to wear, and I have the base of my ring now all set to go. Now I just really need one more glue dot. So it looks like I ended up using about 6 glue dots this time. If I had placed that glue dot on my base a little bit closer to the rubber band, I would have only needed 5 glue dots total. But now I have another glue dot right here in the middle of my base, and I'm going to add this pretty little garland that we made right on top of the base. Check that out. So now I have a fluffy 3-dimensional ring. It's ready to wear right now, really. So just like my butterfly ring, same thing, my little butterfly ring. But now I have a big, fun cocktail ring that's shaped like a heart, so perfect for Valentine's Day. If I were having a cocktail party, I could make this ring and take off the base when I was done, because of course this isn't going to last very long. It's paper, so it'll probably crush. But I could add this to a 3-dimensional picture of the event that I'm wearing this to. Maybe I have a nice picture of my friends at a party, and this is going to go on a covered frame or something, and I can just pull that little heart off, and so it becomes another project that I can use and incorporate the little heart that I made here. If I wanted to make it really sparkly, I could take some glue and just add a little art glitter glue along the outside, and then open up a jar of glitter and just kind of dab my ring in there while I was wearing it, and I could have some fun glitter going on. If you want to be a little less messy, then you can use the little basil bling that I set aside. Of course, I have to find it. What did I do with it? Oh, here it goes. Here we go. So I have pink ones, I have clear ones. Anything that you have laying around that would be a tiny little embellishment would work great, but I like these because they are already have adhesive on it. So I'm just adding some fun. There's some bigger ones on here. And I'm just kind of adding them to the outside where you can see that I've added jewels. But that's really it. So you can do as much or as little embellishing as you want on these. But you could see how quickly I was able to put these together. So one squeeze punch, you could make a ton of rings for party favors. Or as I always point out, it's always fabulous if you can have a little get together or party and you have your guests create their own party favors. So they still get to go home with something fun, but you don't have to make anything in advance. They make it for themselves, but they have a good time doing it, and they have something to take home from your party that's handcrafted, and they have a little bit of fun, and then you have an activity built into your party. So it's kind of a all-in-one proposition if you have people at a party make their own party favors, and that's so easy. So I'm probably going to have the kids make these for Valentine's Day this year. Very cute. If I wanted to add some more things on here, I think a fun one would be to do the same idea but almost make two rings bumped up together, and you could put a lollipop right down the middle, so you have this really fun little garland with a lollipop for a great Valentine's Day present. So lots of things you can do with this concept, but it's very easy, very inexpensive, and you can even show a beginner crafter how to make this. So I hope you enjoyed it. I've actually been able to keep this butterfly ring for several days, and I'm kind of having fun wearing it, so it lasted a lot longer than I thought. So I hope you enjoy. Let me know if you make a fun ring. Put it in our gallery. Send me an email so I don't miss it. I would love to see if you have different shapes and how cute those turn out so we can try different shaped rings. And I will share another project with you soon. So goodbye, everybody.